Welcome everybody. It's great to see many familiar and less familiar faces here at an event that I hope is very much part of our commitment as capacity builders to have a mature and engaged relationship with those of you who are grant holders, but also those of you who aren't but have a strong interest in how the third sector is best supported to thrive, and particularly in terms of what I'm going to talk about in terms of the challenges it faces around the recession. First of all, in terms of knowledge, clearly we can only meet our aims and our aims of partnership by really understanding what's going on for the third sector and for support providers. That's why we launched a rolling survey on a 6-monthly basis with support providers as to how the recession was affecting the demand for their services and their own sustainability. In particular, I think what's interesting is 85% report plans for increased collaboration and over 50% are talking about merger, which is quite a sharp upturn in how support providers are thinking they might need to respond to the recession in terms of the environment for themselves. So I wouldn't want to underestimate the toughness and the challenges facing both frontline organisations but also those providing the support at this time. Those of you who are in regular contact with us will know that we've been trying to make sure that our programmes respond to these very current challenges, and we were delighted a couple of weeks ago to launch an extra £2 million of capital investment which is available, and that's open now. And I just wanted to say a couple of things about that for those of you who may be interested. Last year we ran what we called our Strand A of our capital investment programme. It's for local resource centres, the basis from which services for the third sector and support for the third sector is provided locally. We gave 7 awards under that scheme in the West Midlands, ranging from shared office space in Moseley through to improvements around access and printing facilities as well. So we've managed to secure an additional 2 million for an additional round of awards. They're relatively small awards, under 30k, and we've put a particular focus now on how things like shared premises, shared facilities can support the sector during a recession. Those of you who applied previously will be familiar with fairly manual processes by capacity builders. I hope you'll be beginning to notice, if you're a grant holder, some change in that. For Strand A, the new Strand A, completely online application, and for other grant holders, within 6 months you'll start to notice that you'll have an account and you'll be able to submit electronically all your monitoring information and your financial returns. I hope that you'll recognise that as part of a pattern, really, those of you who are grant holders, of us trying to improve our service to you as a grant holder and engage more in a relationship about the outcomes you're achieving rather than the paper trail required around grant funding. Part of our engagement in the debates will be to work with a range of other partners, including the sector, but including other funders, and I'm really pleased today we're working with Government Office and the Big Lottery Fund. But of course, key in it is the Office of the Third Sector, who've led the policy on the third sector, and I'm delighted to welcome Lindsay, who's going to talk a bit about the West Midlands and OTS.
So in terms of support from OTS, we find that there's a very high take-up from the West Midlands in terms of our funding programmes. In particular, you can see there that the Targeted Support Fund has allocated £2.7 million to the West Midlands area, which represents 18% of the total allocation. You've got 93 bursary offers from the Modernisation Fund that support local third sector organisations that are interested in merging or collaborating as a response to the recession. 8.9 million from the Grassroots Grants Fund, which is providing small grants to small local organisations, and we also support the Regional Networks Fund through Capacity Builders. So how does the West Midlands compare to other regions? Well, it's a very active third sector. You've got nearly 1/3 of people in the local area volunteering monthly, which is very high. And if you compare that to the North East, that's only 20%. The highest score is the East Midlands with 31%. So you can see that you're at the top end of that. You've got 45,000 people working in the third sector. 12,000 charities. That doesn't include social enterprises or under the radar groups, but you can see that compares to the lowest score was 4.6 1,000 in the northeast, and obviously London has the highest concentration with 21,000, which is to be expected. Most third sector organisations are involved in culture, leisure, education, also a high percentage involved in community development and healthcare. 90%, so an overwhelming majority, think that they've been very successful over the last 12 months, and only a slight drop in that believe that they will continue to be successful over the next 12 months. These statistics come from our national survey. 9% of third sector organisations in the West Midlands identify themselves as capacity building organisations. 19% of all third sector organisations are receiving support from another third sector organisation, so that indicates the use of infrastructure locally. And it would be interesting to hear your thoughts possibly later on whether infrastructure is actually helping third sector organisations have a more positive relationship with the local statutory sector.